Welcome, 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 everyone, to another adventure into reality. Once again, I am enjoyed by my mystical mistress, co-host Martina Grubmuller.
Good to be here, Andrew.
How are
Um,
you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. It's a bit tense at the moment, the energy, don't you find?
Oh, tense. Just a wee bit. We've got a good third of the United States, 80 million people that are um, unhappy with the election results, and another 80 million people who are happy with the election results. And the one side is gloating, and the other side is going through the 5 stages of grief. Now, the other 80 million people that are left over, they're the ones that are, the brown sheep of the family. And the ones that generally live in the adrenal gland life. And my 6-week online course is called Living the Mystical Life Daily. And its whole purpose is to get you out of adrenal gland living. And earlier, Martina and I were talking. I'm like, it's those people that are stuck in living the adrenal gland life daily journey. Mediocrity is their point of view. Mediocrity is what they conform and accept to each day. And that's what we want to talk about today, the adrenal gland life and how it truly affects you on your journey to the stars and beyond.
So what adrenal glands? We all know about it from Jung's theory. Sympathetic, we know it obviously from Andrew's teaching. Sympathetic, fight, flight, and freeze. That's pretty much the adrenal gland. Now, what did you call it? The other one,
Living the mystical life daily.
Living the mystical life daily would be the parasympathetic one: rest, digest, and relax.
Right.
Right.
Without a haunted parasympathetic.
What?
Without a haunted parasympathetic. All too often, the deep, distressing character flaw programs that people have are housed in the parasympathetic. And oftentimes get access to the vagus nerve, which create negative mystical things like a person that will berate themselves the way they look every day in the mirror instead of saying you look good, or a person that will have extreme reactions of anger when people don't acknowledge who they are or what they are.
Now, you've just said something very, very important here, okay? You said negative mystical experiences, okay? Yeah. Because so many people, get hung up on mystical experiences being positive. And that's sometimes what bites you in the ass, because you can have a mystical experience. And to give you an example, like you wake up in the morning and you just know you had this dream and you just know you have to do that, right? It happened to me 2 weeks ago. Woke up, I knew I had to do something. It took me 2 days to realize that all I did was it was a negative mystical experience, because it almost felt like it was hard discernment and everything. It was a conclusion, which would have actually thrown me into more karmic retribution than karmic resolution. So look out for the negative mystical experiences.
That journey to understanding the positive mystical experience. Yeah. Positive means we are doing something without an expectation of Pavlov's dog's cookie. Negative mystical experience generally have the self-fulfilling Pavlov's dog cookie. Yes, just exactly like we were talking about. If I do this, I'll get the cookie, which justifies the mystical experience. But the journey there was the destructive part.
Yeah, but you see, it can come in such a disguise, because it comes like, oh, I have to do this and it's a good thing and I'm a good girl if I do this, and it feels right and all of that. Now, I would suggest, and I did that for 2 days. I worked through that. I asked lots and lots of questions. Is this a conclusion? Is this an opinion? Is this a point of view that I should actually let go? Every time you have something that feels so passionately strong, turn the coin over and have a look and see, is it a misguided conclusion there that just got you trapped?
Alan is also saying false synchronicity. Now, misguided conclusions are slightly different than false synchronicities. False synchronicities can be externally set up through the system that is using prediction models to trap you into a system of repetition, like voting for a certain person, the type of news channels and informations that you receive, and the types of advertisings that hit you over and over and over again. And then after 9 days later, like suddenly, I think I need bagged food in my house, because they kept promoting to you there's prepper food that is available, or whatever the passive background which is programming you at the parasympathetic level.
Exactly. So that's already number one to look out for. And the tool is really to just always look at it again. Is it a conclusion? And you can destroy it, you can let it go, you can, even if it feels particularly exciting and everything, and then see if it still sticks, if it's still there, you know? And of course, the other thing is, I think what's coming through so much at the moment, I think for probably lots of people is the dreaming world, isn't it? There's so many dreams that are coming in at the moment that are really have a message. If you are not on the path of mediocrity, if you actually go down the road and say the next day, I'm writing it down, I'm channeling it, you know, and start looking at what is this? What do I do with that?
Right. That choice to do exactly what you said is an ongoing set of choices that requires non-mystical courage and non-mystical commitment. Now, you and I talk about commitment and courage not being mystical experiences. They talk about being choices. And when one has a powerful dream and they don't have the commitment and courage to back it up, and the dream fades, whose fault is that?
Yep.
Okay. If you had this all-inspiring, God came down to you and delivered something to your heart, and you opened to the universe, but you can't remember it the next goddamn day because you didn't use courage and discipline to write it down, you weren't meant for that experience to go on.
And you know what? It does take courage. It does take discipline, because I often sometimes wake up and think, oh shit, no, I can't. Just a couple of bits, pieces and things like that. It doesn't matter. Even if it's just the energetics, if you just feel what did that feel like now? Yeah. And just write down bits and pieces, because throughout the day, it will come back. And when it does come back, you can actually continue with the dream. So I had a dream, just to give you an example, I had a dream which was slightly disconcerting. At the time, I woke up, I didn't feel very good. I wrote it down, and then I wrote down the way I felt throughout. I was almost like, even though it was a very emotional, it was a very personal dream, I felt like being a neutral observer. I observed it in my dream. And I thought, this is weird. I should not just observe that. I should have gone really, much more activated by it. And then I realized, as I worked through it the next day, I realized that it had something to do with the bloodline, with the female bloodline, with the DNA lineage. And what this whole dream, at the end of the day, what I worked out for myself, it was women in my lineage not having their needs met. And it came in the most convoluted ways, the way it showed itself. But that was the thing that came through.
So that journey, I'm getting some kind of echo. Robert, is somebody else's mic open? No, it doesn't look like it. Anyway, the echo's gone. So you and I, before the show, talked about this. When you have a long-term journey of needs not being met at the lifetime to lifetime or the general soul family level, it's like the soul family bank is gypping you, or you're the one that's end up holding the bill lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Even if you're in this soul family one lifetime, you're in another soul family another time, but the generality is you're the one that's left holding the bill. The experience does not balance out, and you end up holding the bill over and over and over again, accepting the ancestral debt to the point where you have a lifetime going, why is everyone else's emergencies more important than mine?
So what you're talking about here is ancestral karma, right?
Yep.
And that's the one thing that we need to start in that journey now, in that journey, living the mystical life daily, understanding our celestial mediumship journey better, the journey back to the stars. This is part of what we need to revisit. We've done it before, we talked about it before. So let's look at this ancestral karma, because you just said it, you said something. If somebody dies, let's start very simple. Somebody dies in your family, there's always one who takes on the debt, right?
You can't cookie cutter it to that, but somebody usually takes on the majority of the debt. Somebody takes on 51%, somebody may take on 49%. But then again, you might have had somebody that they vilely hated each other and the all goes to them. So like I said, somebody will take on the debt. It's not generally one though.
So, and what that dream showed me was to start looking outside of myself. Even it's a bit like, think about it, the fog is lifting. We know that the energies are changing. The fog is lifting. Now, as the fog is lifting, you have places and spaces that you had cleaned before, and there's dust settling back on again, which you can, obviously clean. Then there are places which are not that clean, old stuff coming up. And then all of a sudden you look, fog's lifted, and there's a pile of shit. Where the hell did that come from, right?
And there's no dog to blame it on.
There's no dog to blame it on, and you don't actually, it's almost like that energy of like, what is that? And then you start realizing this actually is ancestral karma.
That's my shit in the corner. Thank you, Sean. That's my shit, and I got to clean it up.
Yeah. So, but there's almost a disconnect to it. It doesn't throw you into adrenal gland, interestingly enough, but it's still your shit, right?
There are people that are shocked that it's a hunk of shit in the corner, and will be in the 5 stages of denial about it. No, that couldn't have been my shit. Okay, that's a shit from another lifetime, but it wasn't me, and I'm going to blame it on the life. And there's a variety of denials and how the sailboat goes down the river in Egypt denial that people have when it comes to it's the past life, blame it on the past life. But the thing is, for that pile of poop to appear, there has to have been something in this lifetime that allows the portal of poop transference. Okay? And all too often, people are constantly healing the past, but don't realize there's a trauma and wound from the present that they're not healing, and this stuff repeats itself and repeats itself and repeats itself. And that is its own journey into understanding, heal thyself today, know thyself today. So when the repetitions of the past come, suddenly a poop pops up in the corner and you've stepped in it. I'll go, oh, I got to clean my toes off and pick this poop up so that it doesn't come back into my life because I've healed this lifetime today. And that general feeling that you were talking about of not having your needs met, it's a very common experience. Now, I've been asked in the past, what's the one thing that all humans share as an experience? Believe it or not, it's dying of diarrhea. Diarrhea was the death of human beings all the way up into the 1930s. You got the squirts, you died. And family was already preparing the coffin for you, quite literally. Okay, because you don't know whatever, you ate bad food, you had bad water, you had all sorts of things that occupied the gut, and the next thing you know, got dysentery, and they were praying to Jesus that the dysentery would stop, but it wouldn't happen. That's the common experience. We shit ourselves to death. Okay, on the other side here, it's true love. We found true love during our courageous moments to go, I will survive. Okay? Survive the hell that was around me. And on the other side, the true love is there. And then you go into the thriving life. You go from war to famine to heart-expressed love to a farm with 4 kids.
Yes. And in between of that, in on that journey, there are some more traps sometimes, because that, and this is really important for me anyway, when that came through, because it was not having the needs met. It's a very different energy to I need support. Look at the energy. I don't feel supported. I don't have my needs met. It's a very different thing.
But not having your needs met means there is a person who doesn't speak up. But when it goes lifetime to lifetime to lifetime, usually there's this grace period where you're allowing person to help balance it out. And over a few months to a few weeks, one begins to realize it's not going to balance out, or the harshness of that life prevents it. And that's where the distrust to the universe comes in, which was what we were trying to lead to here.
Yes.
The distrust to the universe the soul experiences.
Absolutely. And that comes through the lineage, you know.
Yes.
And of course, you are here to resolve that. You can resolve that for your lineage, for your bloodline, you know.
How many times have we heard on a show, I never wanted to come here, I never signed up to come here, I don't belong here, I want to go home? How many times have we heard that on the show? An infinite amount of times. You absolutely signed up to be here. 80% of the souls here are ancient, and the remaining 20% are middle-aged. There's very few young souls here. It's like the retirement community. They don't allow young souls here because only the best of the best of the best come here, the ones with the experience. So for each and every one of you that says, I want to go home, you have a lifetime issue and a mistrust to the universe.
Yes. So it's that, the mistrust towards the universe that comes with that's a really big one. So where do you actually mistrust the universe? And again, it's so funny when I ask myself the question now, do I not trust the universe? It's almost like, of course I trust the universe. What are you talking about, Andrew Bartzis?
Yeah, the universe always got my back, except for that one time.
Okay.
Except for that one time. But I forgave her. Really, sort of. Okay. But then there was this other time I wasn't sure. You know, she threw a lot of shit at me really fast.
And this is the thing with the ancestral karma. It's really, really useful. Look back into your lineage. Look for the pattern, you know, and then, you know, you have obviously, look at you being here, the fetus agenda with the blueprint to do certain things, right? To resolve certain things, to create certain things. And then at the same time, you got to acknowledge that you don't just have a fetus agenda, you also have an apex agenda that doesn't just work within the paradigms of this lifetime, but beyond, right?
It's looking to amalgamate experiences into a master light creation experience, because that's what its experience is. Manage and manage the many fetuses and I ams that are there in the individual worlds. And in that management, it has the master archive of all experiences, which it can put together into a codex of what the apex of the I am experience is, which is the master teachings of what the soul's trying to do throughout many eras of flight.
Absolutely. And then of course you gotta really, and I love that unity consciousness revocation you wrote the other day. You put it on Facebook. I call it.
Yes, the outcreation. Yeah.
That is such a lovely revocation invocation. And there's one sentence in it that fits nicely here, where we say, look at and actually start clearing out your forced incarnations and your natural incarnations, and start actually disengaging and healing, clearing the forced ones, right?
And taking extra effort to have those forced ones as a conscious application, and then the conscious application of the natural ones. So you can begin to truly compare and contrast how the universe may be of putting you in a forced situation or putting you in a natural situation, and the common themes between them that we can learn to separate and make pattern reckons between.
The pattern recognition, yes. And of course, it leads you back to sovereignty. Because we're still creating karma in the unseen, in the intangible realms.
Which is that apex I am going, okay, I have all these other I ams doing this, and this. They've accumulated a friction that has a reciprocity energy in karma.
Could we also say that when we talk about the universe is, you know, not trusting the universe, that would probably be, you know, the selves of you being in opposition, right? Fighting each other. Could we say that?
in general, that's a good thing, but there are things beyond the selves that are joining those oppositional forces. My enemy's enemy is my friend. Until my friend's enemy is defeated, then we're back to being enemies. And then there's multi-dimensional frenemies. So it's a bigger perspective, but generally, yes, what you're saying is correct. We just have to realize that there are other dimensions of densities of beings influencing the journey between the many selves.
Yes. So let's actually, when we look at karmic resolution, we go beyond that. We go ancestral karmic resolution. We have to also acknowledge that karma is everywhere. There's universal karma out there, right? We had this discussion the other day in our Wednesday show, talking about karma.
Karma fuels the galactic commerce market.
Exactly. So the universal
karma is the fuel for many experiences too, or the catalyst into fuel. It can be seen in many different ways, but the pool of karma that we tap into as a soul family, negative or positive, is a catalyst for experiences.
It is a catalyst for experiences, yes. And we also need to start acknowledging that this whole DNA farming situation, right, like millions of years back, is all part of that. So we are actually...
This is when the ancestral banks, the ancestral karmic debt vehicle holders, will no longer be entwined with karmic debt or karmic process, where ancestral karmic debt as an expression will be removed from our universal laws.
When is that going to happen?
At the end of the awakening, when we've all had our individual journey into the away from the system of domination and control, and realized what ancestral karmic debt is, and then we slowly come to a collective in 2050, 2053, as we've had 30-something years of delayed disclosure, pretend disclosure, full disclosure, multidimensional awakenings, aliens in the sky who were never there, as well as the can kick down the road and people not experiencing anything.
Fantastic. Well, let's put a marker in time in here. We'll be in our late 70s. We will be doing a show on that, right? And then I will be
79. I will be 79 at that time.
I will be sitting there and we'll be saying, we told you so, and we made it, we did it.
But the thing is, we will have plenty of I told you shows before that.
Yeah.
But there'll be such a powerful Mandela effect, countering positive and negative Mandela effects, countering the awakening to make us forget it, and then having a counter awakening to make us forget the countering, until such a time where people are like, didn't we have the awakening like 20 times already? And then the system be like, fuck, how do we erase it again?
But this is the thing, with that karmic DNA farming and all of that, and the false gods. We mustn't think for one moment that just because we can't see them, they are all up astral beings and they're all happy goody two shoes. Because
no, they're not. Exactly.
I was saying the other day, it's the global narrative as we know it is only 300 years old, right?
Roman numeral time clock towers, yes, roughly 300 years old.
That's the revolution number 1, starting 1700 or something. But how much more of that karmic shit has been going on from the very beginning, and that's the universal karma we're actually needing to start looking at it, right?
Absolutely. And how it affects you today. Exactly. So that as you make the journey in observance with a time perspective, you can start giving a stamp of, I get it here, I get it here. What is the grand leap of logic that I have to make to 1 million years ago? The theme just repeats itself from a different perspective.
Absolutely. And it just applies to the environment you're in, basically.
Yeah, right. But, it allows you a logical reverse prediction.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But we've been in this from the very beginning. Right? We've been part of this from the very beginning.
Well, technically, but you don't remember.
No, of course we don't.
You don't remember, and sometimes the memory has been wiped so perfectly that it will take a Mandela effect to realign the 20% DNA rungs to have access to the game. That's why there are forgotten worlds, and that's why the Mandela effect revocation is so unique, where it realigns so many people, where they get access to a tree of information that's been foreign to them, where it's called race amnesia.
Yes. But having said that, just the acknowledgement of that just puts the bar up here, right? And for some people, they might find it too boring just to look at their little bit. If you start thinking on that expanded sort of plane, then it gets really interesting, right?
Yeah, the universe is not working against me; it's working for me.
Exactly.
That's the pattern recognition, the bigger, greater pattern recognition. No, the universe is not working against me. It's working for me. And all I got to do is see how it's working for me so I don't stub my toe on the wall going, it's not working for me.
Yeah. And then really just say, oh, so what happened 19 million years ago? And all this time, the DNA farming going really rampant and all of that. And then just looking at that, as a fact, if you want to look at it from that perspective, take the mystery out of it and then start realizing, oh my God, it might actually start triggering you on a DNA level.
Yes. And it may trigger you to such a point going, I'm having a mystical experience. And then background, what am I responsible now for?
Exactly. And it puts everything into perspective and it makes it more exciting, because to be honest, I get it. It's boring to talk about self-healing and how much more can we do, because you're not going to really, you shut down. I've done so much now. But when you expand, your horizon, and you actually start realizing, wow, this is what we're dealing with here, then it gets exciting again.
So I want to give a metaphor that people can understand. If you are generally non-athletic and you want to go and do an athletic sports, let's say AA baseball, which is not the highest level baseball, it's professional level baseball. If you've never hit a baseball before, you just can't go out to the AAA team and go, I want to strike, I want to do strikes. Spirituality is the same thing. And we may sound like we're harping on self-mastery all the time, but ultimately it is the gateway to having any experience. Your soul in the universe might be giving you some of these metaphorical carrot and stick cookie and Pavlov's dog cookie so that you enter self-mastery on your own. And people come to me all the time going, I've had these wonderful dreams and experiences, but I have no daily practice. I'm really pretend about being spiritual. And if they actually put any real effort into a daily practice, the dreams and stuff that they would have would be greatly unfolded into even more experiences. But they're stuck by not accepting self-mastery as the responsibility to the self.
Well, this is very much what you're talking about now, is actually when you talk about using the mystical experiences as gratification and not fulfillment. I mean,
exactly.
It's two different words, completely two different energies.
Okay.
Two different energies.
Right. And somebody that's got me on a side note, don't be Allen Iverson. Allen was a street ball player that kicked the shit out of everyone. Okay. He still played every day. He still learned how to dunk on people and how to do it. And it's not like the 60-year-old grandma that's in the corner in the chat room over there is gonna go and dunk on Allen Iverson. Okay.
Yeah.
You imagine Martina coming down the court and dunking on Allen Iverson. Okay? It's not going to happen.
I kick the shit out of him. I can do that.
Exactly. Believe.
Believe.
Okay? Believe.
No suspension of disbelief. No. Not going for that. But then again, it's like simplicity is the ultimate sophistication.
Absolutely.
And this is why we're going to keep on talking about this again and again and
Self-healing, self-mastery, self-nurturing, self-discovery.
We're just gonna
Those are your daily mantras to wake up. How am I self-healing? How am I self-nurturing? How am I at self-mastery? How am I in self-discovery? Instead of, man, I should do something today. I don't know. I'm going to beat myself up. Oh, God, I ate too much today. I'm going to just watch TV and Netflix instead of doing anything real. Living the sheeple life.
And it's okay to have a day or two like that too. You know, you
Sure.
get
Sometimes we just got to be a part of the herd.
You don't, and it's really, really important not to hold on. This is part of the celestial medium journey, where you actually start understanding that the mystical experience, yes, you download it, you unpack it and all of that, you manifest with it, and then you let it go.
Right.
It's a bit like ceremony.
Absolutely like ceremony.
You make it ceremonious, and then you shut down, and then you have a beer, you talk some shit, that type of stuff, you know. It's really, really important. But that's celestial mediumship at the same time, living the finite and the infinite life simultaneously, right?
Right. As a journey of choice.
As a journey of choice, yes.
And in that journey of choice encompasses the infinite and the finite as a balanced process of making pattern recognitions between the infinite and the finite, the infinite, so that we can create such a unique experience that has the journey of the celestial medium to it, where you're working in so many realms using pattern recognition, so that the paving stones that are 4, 5, 6 steps ahead of you have a precognitive workforce paving the road ahead of you.
And that again is the question, because, you know, if you go beyond all of that and you don't really understand what any of that means, then you're going for gratification, and there is just no fucking fulfillment,
right.
You know, and your needs will not be fulfilled.
Mm-hmm. And then you will question the universe.
Then you question the universe and everyone around you, you know, and your bloodline. But no, there's something to that too, you know, and that's the exploration. And then looking at that, you know, working with a new pattern, my needs are fulfilled, you know, and just keep working along those lines. That's just one of those examples.
So I want to touch again on the needs but not being fulfilled lifetime to lifetime to lifetime, or you're having this lifetime where your needs aren't being fulfilled, and it may represent many past lifetimes. The journey to breaking needs not being fulfilled.
The journey to breaking was choice. We talked about that before. But number one, and I love those 5 stages of grief. You know, because you can actually, you know, use them for bloody everything.
Absolutely.
Number 1, denial. First of all, are you in denial that your needs are not met? And don't misidentify it with support. Don't look at what's around you, how much you've accumulated. It's got fuck all to do with that. You know, it's all about joy. It's all about creating that dharmic path, you know, like joyful, creative purpose, you know, getting from karma into that dharmic path. So denial, number 1. You know, acknowledge what
Robert, can you put up the 5 stages of grief graph?
Yeah, let me get it real quick.
Okay. So there's the second one was anger. Yeah. Lashing out,
getting angry, and that's okay too. It's just an emotion to look at. But the question is then, you know, are you actually acknowledging what needs to be fulfilled that is not fulfilled, that actually makes you angry? What's the purpose of getting angry, right?
And then falling back to denial, and then back to anger, and cyclical denier, anger. And then we get to bargaining. The
bargaining, yes. I could have done this, and I should have done that, and you know, this and that. The should haves, the could haves, the becauses. Get fucking rid of those.
The could have, should haves, would haves.
Yes.
Okay. And then we usually go back to shock and denial, lashing out at ourselves for bargaining, and then we go, man, I'm not doing well. And you don't bargain with yourself anymore. And you go back to, I'm really not doing well. And that sadness and depression sets in. And you have so much sadness, depression, you can't even lash out at anyone.
Yes. And every single emotion that we just mentioned here needs to be acknowledged. Don't beat yourself up. Don't judge it. Just acknowledge it for what it is. Breathe through it.
Mm-hmm.
And do whatever it takes, you know, the clearings, healings, revocations, you know, everything that we always talk about.
That journey into acceptance isn't instant gratification. And that's the difference between an instant gratification, self-fulfilling energy that is the Pavlov's dog giving itself its own cookie. Acceptance isn't you giving yourself the cookie.
Acceptance is not giving yourself the cookie.
In the Pavlov's dog situation. Okay, acceptance allowing us to know is what we can change it and we create anew. Versus, I'm going to give myself this experience as an expectation, fell through with the expectation, and never be opened up to the greater journey of what sadness, loss, depression, bargaining, anger, frustration, shock, and denial mean, because we didn't go through the stages of grief.
Yes. And only when we go through the stages of grief, we can actually grow. There's no growth without grief. Okay, that actually sounds good. There's no growth without grief.
That's right. Grief and growth hand in hand.
And you know, grief, there's nothing wrong with grief. It sometimes, you know, if you lose a loved one, of course, that's exactly what you need to go through those in order to grow, in order to let them go.
Mm-hmm.
And at some stage, there's this word acceptance, you know.
Mm-hmm.
At some stage, you can take that acceptance and turn it into allowance, which is a slightly different energy. When you really let go of all the expectations, all the projections, when you start acknowledging and recognizing that, yes, we do create our lives. Everything we do, we create for a reason, even if we can't remember it. Everything is for the purpose of growth. Then you can go into allowance and actually just sit back, become that neutral observer and say, okay, whatever the fuck happens, it's okay.
Not only is it okay, I have given myself this experience so I can discover courage, commitment, and discipline.
And then you can also be in allowance, acceptance, if you want to call it that, but allowance, what other people are choosing, no matter how weird and wacky it seems to you.
Right. That allowance puts black spots on the sheep, you as the sheep. And suddenly you're the black sheep in the family. And you get to evolve into the lone wolf who can run ahead of the pack of conformists and go and see ya, suckers. On that journey to the stars and beyond.
Yes. And be aware of falling into any form of definition and significance around being that black sheep, yes, or the lonely wolf. You don't identify with that either, because you're not always that. You're much more than that.
Absolutely right. But there are times that people need to be the black sheep to accept nonconformity. And then they will have the 5 stages of grief of going, I'm not the black sheep no more. I'm the wolf. Roar, hear me howl. And then, oh, I'm not the wolf. I'm the celestial medium. Man, I wasted a lot of time being that black sheep and that wolf. I did a lot of forgiving myself versus just understanding that those are metaphorical terminologies to help you identify without instant gratification the humps in the journey.
Yeah. And you know, no matter how many humps, don't fall into the trap of the rebel. The rebel is not.
That rebel wants you to get on top of that sheeple and ride the sheeple, or ride the black sheep, or ride the wolf.
And that rebel thing, that energy works for a certain period of time until it doesn't anymore. When you enter
for certain types of karmic resolution that one cannot break out of, and they create the rebel to help them break that cycle.
Yes, and that's absolutely fine. It works perfectly well until it doesn't anymore, and the rebel turns into a fucking little demon, and you know, program, and then you need to let that rebel go too.
Right. You know, after the rebellion, there's no need for rebels.
Exactly.
Okay. And after you've won the rebellion, there's no need for rebels.
And that gets us back into beyond the adrenal gland living.
That's right. Living the mystical life instead of living the adrenal gland life. Whereas I'm stuck in fight, flight, or freeze, and that's the majority of my experience. Oh my God, I don't have to choose fight, flight, or freeze. I can choose love first. Oh my God, what a change in experience.
Exactly. And this is where we then come out of, we did a show last year on this, where we come out of the chemical memories.
Yep.
And we go into the light memories that are always there for you to call upon, those light imprints that are not even stored anymore in the bodies, right?
Exactly.
Because it's the chemical memories that are stored in our bodies. And I remember you saying they should be stored in the skeletal system, but they're actually not even stored there. They're stored in our fascia. They keep us like, oh, this and that. We need to let all of that go.
When that journey to letting it go has to have layers of acceptance to it. Maybe we should come up with the 5 layers of acceptance instead of the 5 layers of grief. The 5 things that you're going to do with the journey to accepting.
Well, that's an easy one. No? Okay,
let's try it. Let's try it. Let's just try it. This is like a little off the track, but it could be fun.
Acceptance. So no, okay, so is that too high? If we say self-healing, self-mastery, is that too big? Is that too high?
It's too vague.
So acceptance, yeah? The first thing is really
not allowing deluding.
Acknowledging what is the first one.
Yeah. What is the delusion?
So acknowledge what is.
What is the illusion or delusion, and what is the truth?
There's also an element of acknowledging the emotion, right?
Yes. The emotions are a charge and polarity that must be evaluated for what they are.
What is the emotion? So acknowledging what is, and that's just a factual thing. This is the situation.
Right.
How am I feeling, right? And I know we always go out of feeling, but actually, how am I fucking feeling here? You know? Exactly.
Can I get to the source of the feeling without interference? I think that's a little bit more descriptive things, because the interference on the way is the charge and polarity. If we can get to the source of the feeling without interference, we're on the path to acceptance.
Okay. So maybe we need to first feel it. That would be number 2. Feel the emotion first. And then go to that level, what you were saying, where, you know, how can we just look at that without going into polarity, look from a sacred neutral perspective. That's number 3.
Understanding adult intentions and not baby intentions.
Okay. All right.
When we're dealing with something such as acceptance, we can't be the 2-year-old passively doing it. And unfortunately, a lot of people who live the intentional life, they live the intentional life like a 2-year-old and don't have adult intentions that have an adult responsibility behind them. Your level of awareness is equal to your level of responsibility. And if you're only accepting at the baby level, your only responsibility is saying that's all I can accept.
So you see, I've just realized this is actually timeline therapy that I used to do.
Yes, absolutely. Timeline therapy.
You acknowledge this is where the shit happens. Okay, this is happening. What's the emotion? Feel it, or just as much. Engage the emotion from what's actually happening, and then you just have the facts left, and that's it.
Right. And as the facts remain, we don't change or alter them out of gratification.
Yes.
That's usually what erases acceptance. Out of self-gratification, we use alternate facts.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's healing. That's acceptance. That's healing. That letting go of the attached emotion.
That attached emotion has lots of reasons why it's attached.
Oh, absolutely. And another thing here, we need to make it. We need to acknowledge it in the body. Where do you actually feel it in the body?
Right.
Because people can really feel it wherever that is. And then as they let go the emotion from that incident, whatever, from the event, actually they can feel the difference in the body, which then makes it so powerful at the same time. Always make the connection with the body.
That's why the out loud name it to claim it system is so integral with the body. It is that body is reassuring yourself that the out loud part, name it to claim it, is including the body at all times, because the body is the vessel and instrument of the experience, which is vital to have the experience in the body and not in a third person perspective. And all too often, people end up praying in a third person perspective and are disassociated from their own prayers and can't enter the flow freely.
Well, and you see, the other thing with that is it's unfortunately very easy to leave the body.
Very easy. Living the adrenal gland life makes you fight, flight, freeze.
Exactly. And as soon as you get out of your body, you stick in, and you think, oh, I'm just thinking, I'm doing the healing. You're not fucking in your body. That's it. It's with every meditation, the same thing. Oh, let me say something here. Gratification. I never considered it as gratification, but maybe that is an example. So I was doing your moon to sun, going through the cylinder.
Golden tube of protection. Yep.
Golden tube of protection and everything. And when I normally used to do that, I was like into the sun, rush through, cool down, that's it. You know, it was nice. But I didn't really hang around a lot, you know, because everything was so easy for me, because I really lived there. So I never really unpacked the data that I collected up there, because I was never really connecting back down in my body properly. So I've turned this round now, and that may or may not help other people too. If you're really good at traveling, at astral traveling, and you know how to do this, it's so easy, then you're doing something wrong. It's almost too easy, because you're probably not staying in your body enough so that you can take that information down.
Learning how to smell the roses on your astral journey is how discipline and commitment assist you on the journey.
Smell the roses on your ass. Absolutely.
You got to stop and smell the roses on both sides.
Absolutely.
And you gotta go, you know what? I'm living the astral life. I could take the scenic route. I don't have to take the super highway, bam, into the experience. I can take the scenic route and drive Miss Daisy into my experience.
Yes. And it is so different. When I did that the other day, and I just really, I realized what I was doing, and I thought, no, slow down. It's not about, you know how to get up there. That's not the problem. The problem is that you're not connecting back into the earth. And I do that with Kundalini, because then I have to, you know, I do my exercises, I do my thing. That means I am in the body. That's the first part. I'm staying there. And I slowed down completely, and I could actually make so much more connections up there with my soul family. So look at it from that perspective. You're too good astral traveling. Look at it from that perspective. It's not that you don't know how to do it. You're too fucking good, because it's so innately in you. You forgot to ground, right?
And forgot to allow the body to have an equal part of the experience. And that's where so many people mistake the responsibility of, it's your responsibility to be embodied and make it a part of the experience. Thus, why your awareness is always equal to your level of responsibility, and your level of responsibility is equal to your level of awareness. And when we step out of that rule and we are not responsible for the experience, we then get information and data that could easily overwhelm us, put us down a path of false synchronicities, or worse, put us on a path of self-degradation.
Absolutely. And often, guys, it's not that you don't know how to do it. You just forgot to think about that one thing.
Right. There's a set of checklists that you have to do, just like pilots before they take off an airplane with 300 people, and they have checklist after checklist after checklist to make sure no one's going to die. Okay. In the metaphor.
Yeah. He's freezing. And this is why the dancing is a very good way of traveling at the same time. You can travel so well whilst you're dancing, staying in your body.
Mm-hmm. Now, the greater journey to staying in your body is your responsibility. Thus, why all of the different tools, tips, and techniques that Martina and I have talked over the last year, and all the different courses that I have out there, so that your daily practice has a variety, such a variety that it can be seen as the buffet of tools, tips, and techniques, the all-you-can-eat buffet of it, so that your experiences help fulfill you.
Now, there's another sentence in that unity consciousness invocation, revocation that you've done that I read 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
For all the people on the red road, something like that. For all the people on the red road who are living blue road lives.
Big information in that one.
That was so powerful. I should have actually written it down properly because I can't really forget.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, whoa, hang on a second. There's so much energy in that one. All the red road people. So do you want to explain again what red road and blue road means?
So the red road is I'm alive, I'm in a body, and I'm having an experience. The blue road is you're an ancestor in another realm who may be a guide and guardian to somebody on the red road. So red road people living blue road lives. They live their majority of their life in the blue road, even though they have red road bodies, and they're not shamanic practitioners. They're just lazy people who aren't using discipline.
And again, they do all this mystical stuff because it's so easy for them. Okay, it's not an excuse, people. It's not an excuse. I've done this and then don't make yourself wrong because you think you're not doing it right. Yes, it's just so easy that you have to actually literally turn it around, right? Mm-hmm. And this is where this commitment and discipline comes in.
Right. And somebody was asking about the purple road. It's when you balance red road living, blue road living, and you have another co-experience to red road and blue road called purple road, which is the celestial medium journey. That the red road life is real, the blue road life is real. You're both equal to your levels of awareness and responsibility on both roads, which generates a purple road experience that is not in competition with any of the other experiences.
Fantastic. So what's the yellow road? I remember you talking about that too. Obviously solar plexus.
So the yellow road is when we are not majority red road, blue road walkers. We are in the thick of resolving why we were born. Generally, that's puberty, early teenager experience, which then solidifies much of our karmic futures that will align synchronistically as potentials.
All right.
Now, midlife crisis can also be a yellow road, but a lot of people go through a midlife crisis in their 20s because of the age of their soul.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the yellow road generally precludes you from some of the mystical experiences that are out there.
Right. But it's also the connection to the sun, right? And the moon energies.
Well, the sun is going to fuel you during the day to go and do things. It's going to absolutely influence you to go out and try to date and make a whole bunch of mistakes. It's going to say, put all your life force into your job. And at the end of your 30 years, shit, I got nothing left. I gave it all to the job.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
I remember, I think vaguely, there was something about watchers. You were saying watchers and sentinels or something in the yellow road. Did you?
So watchers and sentinels are there so that we take the rest stop that shows up on the road. We pull off to the rest stop, and there's watchers and sentinels there who are like the vending machine you get a coffee cup from that helps refill you. Oh, I'm going to get back on the yellow road. Oh, wait, I just had this cool cup of coffee. Let me ponder this as I'm on my yellow road life and allow a red hue in again.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
And wasn't the red road as well connected to ghosts and ancestors and stuff like that?
So the red road life, it is the root chakra living. And in that root chakra living is what creates the potential for all the other chakras to exist. Even though metaphorically our energy comes from the top down, but without the root grounding everything into the totality of the experience, so the DNA becomes the instrument of experience. That's how the fabric of the reality functions. And when we're living the red road life, we're allowing the potentials of synchronicities on all densities and dimensions to be in their potential without our need to control it.
Absolutely. So that unity consciousness revocation when did you write that? Recently?
2018, just before Christmas 2018.
Yeah. Because it's such a lovely, lovely one. It's got so many amazing points in it to really look at that. So you had this
at the time that I was writing that, there were a tremendous amount of, we'll just say, metaphorical pushbacks going on physically in my own life. Things that were like the tidal waves, just saying resisting, resisting. And it just got to the point where it was grinding me down. It wasn't any one individual person, place, or thing. It was the universal tidal forces and the system's tidal forces pushing at me. And I sat down and go, this is classic outcreation. And that's why it's titled, this is my masterful outcreation of the system of distraction that's in front of me.
Yeah.
Okay. And it took me only 4 hours to write.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful. Outcreation. But it didn't have a title, so I titled it for myself, Unity Consciousness, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the points that you made in there. Very good. Now, there's one more thing, going back to ancestral karma and looking at, we always look at the 7 generations back and forward, right? And I know we have been going through this before, but maybe do you want to say something on 7? Why do we actually look at the 7 generations and not beyond that? And it has something to do with the residual images, right?
In the beginning, 7 generations is more than enough, and it can be overwhelming to even go back 1 generation. It is the pull guide level we're working to on our self-mastery. Once we can get to that 7 generations, we can process so much ancestral data and make pattern recognition with it. Going back 20, 30, or 50 is not that much more harder, because first to second generation, second to third generation are exponentially harder amounts of data to process. And that goal of understanding the 7 generations of the past and the 7 generations of the future help you understand how to be a past, present, and future living being with all this data that is there, that is your responsibility to make pattern recognition of.
So just by making the pattern recognition within the 7 generation, whatever, to 300 years or just about, there will be so much resolution that will then trigger stuff from earlier.
7 generations really only goes back about 230 years.
Yeah. Cool. Fantastic.
Yeah, and 230 years into the future. That right there is a big enough data set to master in a lifetime. And can people do it early or much earlier? Sure, absolutely. Courage, commitment, discipline, which are not mystical experiences that allow you to have a high form of enthusiastic effort. And once that high form of enthusiastic effort in 7 generations is simple. Going 10,000 generations of the past and 10,000 generations of the future, like what's in the Dragon Revocation, that is overwhelming for people at times. But that is written in there so for those people who can achieve the highest forms of enthusiastic effort and operate the DNA computational machine that is the living algorithm, it's simplistic. It's how do we retain it afterwards?
How do we retain it? How do we manifest with it before we let it go again? Isn't it? It's that, because
exactly.
The whole point is to create. We are compulsive creators, right? And I think lots of the frustration with, speak for myself as well, and people is that, they feel that, especially now with COVID and all of that, they feel that they're not creating, which is not necessarily the case. You are still creating a lot by doing your self-healing and your self-mastery. It is just really now the focal point could be that.
Understanding that focal point is your responsibility, and not getting lost into creating something that's just beyond the focal point, which will lead you away from the journey of self-discovery.
Yeah, it's almost an invitation at the moment, and it doesn't matter how long it's your invitation. It's like the virus. Oh, and by the way, I love the way you talked about the virus in the last show with Monty, and also the update on Hollow Earth was great. So there is a shitload going on at the moment. There's a lot going on. There's actually no real reason to get bored, to be honest.
There should be no real reason that you should be focusing on the system of distraction, because the system of distraction it's got all these, I'll just simply call them porn clips that are there to shock you into paying attention to them, versus you and going having your own scenic route to anywhere in the universe. Okay? Don't fall for the metaphorical porn clips that are there. Don't get clickbaited into going back into them.
No. This is the whole theme of the year, is going back, the journey back to the stars, And what does that mean? Exactly that, multidimensional living, understanding, the celestial mediumship, understanding to live beyond, the adrenal gland functions.
Exactly. Well, Martina, we're at a point where why don't we take on some callers? We've talked an hour straight. No. There's so much data we packed in that hour. Who knows? It'll be one of those things people go to transcribe later going, this 3 minutes, my God, it'll take me a lifetime to figure that out. So we're going to ask people to go ahead and click on that participants button and go raise your hand. If you are listening on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, or anywhere else and want to be a part of the live conversations where we select people, go to the Zoom room. Robert has the information up here for you to go from whatever platform you're on to come and enter the Zoom room. And don't forget, Zoom has changed some of the features. There's a little passcode that's there. Once you've entered the meeting number 911-001-1974, their passcode is 457-500. You could also dial in via your phone. There's a US number, a Canada number, a United Kingdom number, and an Australia number. We want everyone to come in and have a chance. So go ahead, click on that participants, raise your hand. Also, for those people that dial in via the phone, it will give you instructions also of how to raise your hand while you're on the phone. All right, Robert, let's spin up that wheel of callers and see who wants to have a conversation.
All right, that has definitely been a packed hour. Lynn Johnson, you are first to talk.
Lynn Johnson, are you there?
Hi.
Hi, where are you calling? Hi, where are you calling from today?
Minneapolis.
Welcome to the show. What did you think of our talk today?
It was awesome. Really, I liked it a lot. The Red Road and
what did you learn?
I learned a lot because, well, see, my dreams, I'll buy a journal and I'll set it on and then somehow it just disappeared. And then, so I've been having a lot of really active dreams and I get mad at myself because I can't remember. Mm-hmm. Then like within minutes, I have no idea what it was about.
And
so
whose responsibility is it for you to remember them?
Me.
Okay.
I have to write it down right away because it just vanishes. Like my memory goes. But it seems like I'm living a different life, like two different lives.
But you're not writing it down. Therefore, there's something inside of you that's having a long-term issue with writing it down because you don't believe that could possibly be you in the other world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So the courage is saying that is me in the other world and my dreams are speaking to me. And my responsibility to my awareness now is I must summon the courage that isn't mystical, that in the moment I pick up my damn notebook or use my cell phone to record it out loud.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. I could do that.
I know. Why didn't you realize that before?
Because
there's a blockage. There's a blockage to it. Just acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. By acknowledging there's a blockage to it, it makes it a lot easier to overcome it.
Yeah. Yep, there is a blockage for sure. Because I probably have 15 dream journals around.
Okay. Do you ever just read them back to back to back to back, all together, all at once?
No, because I forget to do it.
Okay.
Once
again, this is an application for anyone that's got journals out there.
Yeah.
I have stacks of journals that are 40, 50 journals thick. And every year, sometimes twice a year, I will go and read them in relative chronological order from beginning to end.
Wow. That's neat.
Why? Because there's such a unique experience every time I go back and read them. And it's my many past selves talking to me, giving me the middle finger, loving me, hating me, all of those mystical Andrews going, hello from the past.
Yeah.
Do you meditate?
Yes. I do. I meditate.
Yeah,
I do, especially with creating. I find I meditate when I'll do like flowers or just creative things.
Mhm.
I find I
That's
go in.
not meditating, darling.
Oh, okay.
That's posing. Mhm.
Okay, so what I was going to say, there's so many different types of meditation. That type of, let's call it journeying. Okay, so let's say, for instance, that you have your dream and you can only remember a couple of things, and then you go into your meditation journey, sort of energy. You can actually use that dream and play with it and take it further and create more with it. Just because you're awake now doesn't mean that, you can take whatever, the other yous have given you and say, okay, well, let me work with that. Let me mold it into something else. What can I learn with it? Maybe that's a motivation for you to start remembering them a bit more.
Okay. Yeah. I like that.
And then acknowledging meditation is really about achieving silence and having commitment, courage, and discipline inside your mind to maintain silence for 5, 6, 7, 10, 15 minutes. Because in silence, we get to recharge the central processing spiritual unit and make new pattern recognitions and have access to some of our dream space that aren't active, we can't get to because we're stuck in an alpha mind space. Okay. And then there's the guided meditation journey where you're having something speak it to you, the grander experience, somebody else's teaching, somebody else's experience, which at times can create a separation. This is why I tell people to record it in your own voice. So there is no longer the schism and separation. Your own voice is assisting you on that journey. That's why so many people who use the advanced heart meditation or the sanctuary for all souls in their own voice have such powerful experiences ongoing for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can make your own revocation about you not writing down your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Will you do it? And let's say you start doing it and you start writing down, what could possibly go on for you?
Yeah. And you're right about the silence too.
Mm-hmm.
I fill my world with non-silence. So I've known that for a long time.
And why do you fill your world with non-silence?
I don't know.
Martina, want to take a stab at that one? Because it's a thing a lot of people have, filling their world with non-silence.
Mm-hmm. And even visual non-silence. Whether it's YouTube or even if I don't have music on or talking, I have something visual or. So what is that about? Denial?
Distraction, I would say.
Distraction.
It's part of the distraction, isn't it? To keep yourself busy so that you don't have to really necessarily think of what you could be healing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely sure what Andrew is getting. What is it?
It's part of the 5 stages of self-grief. The many things that are going wrong in their life.
Yeah.
Filling yourself with the journey of not having the journey. Full on avoidance. What are you avoiding? By filling yourself all the time with the things that you know will stop you from having the greater experience.
I really don't know.
And to be honest, there's something else, what can you actually add to your life? I know it sounds a bit oxymoron, but what can you add to your life that is so joyful and so fulfilling for you that you actually can allow yourself those moments of silence?
I don't know. I was going to be doing hypnosis and then I didn't do that either because I'm still working full time. I know that sounds terrible, doesn't it?
No, it just means you got to start asking yourself the question with an authoritative voice. because instantly you went into meek, I have no presence voice.
Oh.
And you're doing it again in that with barely a self-recognition of it. You got to find your voice.
Yeah.
Okay? Find your voice. All right,
Okay.
darling. Thanks a lot for calling in. You've been a great caller.
Oh, thanks. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. All right, Robert, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
All right. I'm not sure how to say this, but Halasha Thomas.
Halasha, are you there?
Hi, Andrew.
Hi. How are you doing today? Where are you calling from?
Thank you. I'm not Tomas. It's my son's name. I'm from Romania. I'm Tunde.
Tunde, welcome to the show. What did you think of today's show?
Yes, it's exactly the theme was bothering me. What's on my mind, I mean.
Mm-hmm. What's on your mind?
Well, I think I did a lot of healing. Part because I was not feeling well physically, but it wasn't just that. And I still have to deal with sometimes hard physical symptoms. And I'm thinking that it doesn't matter how much healing I do. Maybe it won't go away, or maybe it doesn't have a point, or maybe I'm just not fully grounded. I'm sure I'm not fully grounded in this life because I don't
if
like
you're not
this.
If you're not fully grounded, you're not really healing yourself. You're just pretending.
Yes, well,
you're not in the stages of acceptance. You're still in the stages of denial of what's going on within you.
Well, can I have some questions? I don't know. I could.
Well, today is not for a private session reading show. Today's about the topic that we've been talking about. We save the private session stuff for our Thursday shows.
Okay.
Okay. And what you're really asking is more of a private session here. In general, if you've been healing all the time and you're not getting experiences, you're doing healing wrong. And there's probably something you've gone so far down the spiritual life, you have personal, no recreational life that doesn't fulfill the soul. And there's a greater journey to understanding how to live a balanced daily life. And something has become so out of balance in your life that you truly have to look at, why are you treading rope everywhere, treading water, and constantly on the tightrope walk with such few abilities to stop and smell the roses?
Yes. Well, if you have some points, what I mean, I don't know.
Again, that's for the Thursday show because we're going to be going into a private session.
Yes, no, just about the grounding and about the grounding and the healing.
Martina, you want to take a stab at the grounding?
Very simple, darling. When you reach that stage of contemplation, you got to go back to simplicity, yeah, and go back to your breath. Your breath is always the first thing that takes you back into your body, that starts connecting you. So I would definitely, what I would do is I would start looking at various breathing methods that resonate with you.
Well,
Wim Hof we've been talking about, and there's no really but. It's either you do it or you don't, because that's the choice you got to make. And do you know what? I've been fighting this breathing business for a long time until I found the right breathing techniques for me. And that is Kundalini. So look into Kundalini yoga, look into Kundalini breathing or Wim Hof, and just give it a shot. Give it a shot. And you know what? Because that teaches you that discipline. And it really keeps you in the body. And, you know, every minute you can add is going to really help you on your journey of self-healing.
I tried Wim Hof. I like him very much. I'm dreaming to make ice baths one day. I don't know where, but I don't like. I have a blockage about rituals, techniques, and.
Get over it. Blunt to your soul. Get over it. If you have a blockage, tough fucking luck. I'm sorry. You need tough love here. Get over it. You said you tried everything. You didn't try it with the right level of enthusiasm, and you didn't try it with the rest of your soul behind it, smelling the roses. Dylan, I got to let you go. I want to take on another caller so we stay on topic here. Try calling into a Thursday show, and we'll try answering your questions. All right?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, Robert, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
Okay, Alfredo, you're getting a signal.
Alfredo, are you there? Going once. Alfredo.
Hello.
Hello, where are you calling from today?
Fuck yes. Oh, fuck yeah. Austin, Texas. Yes.
Austin, Texas. Welcome to the show, Alfredo. What did you think of our show today?
Always amazing. Like, it's just a constant, like, it's my spiritual school that I always want to attend every fucking week. I know you guys have to work your asses off, but like, I just look forward to it. So I'm just like, when I'm falling offline, I'm like, oh, Martina and Andrew are gonna be on. Thank God, because it's awesome, man. It's like I'm still in school, but it's like a better school for like growth and development. I love it.
So what did you think of today's show?
Oh, it's good, man. I've been trying to digest it while handling my family life and taking the dog out and try to.
So is it digestive today? A 7-course meal to digest?
Yeah, usually I can digest most of the shows in one listen, but this one, like, I know I want to re-listen to it because it like definitely hits a lot of points that I'm working on right now.
Yeah. So what did you want to talk to us today about?
Oh man, it was kind of a little different. I'm the guy that called last time for my spiritual roasting. I was like, yeah, roast my ass. I want to hear my charred truths and whatnot. But like, I just want to do something a little different to like kind of emanate what I work on, because sometimes I'll do my revocation, or I'll do your revocations, and then like while I'm doing meditations, the inspiration will just come with me. I like to sit by this tree that's right outside of our apartment, just take my shoes off, put my feet on this tree, and just like sit there, breathe, meditate, whatever I need to do. But sometimes inspiration will just come in hardcore, and I'm just like, you know what, I got to quit doing this repetition and fucking write all this stuff down, because it just comes, and I have to like have this intense inspiration and joy to like write it. So I wanted to share whatever my notes are, so people can like get an idea of like, like something that inspires them to like want to do something cool. Because you do like very awesome wordsmithing, and like when I have some awesome wordsmith moments, I'm like, oh fuck yeah, I gotta write that down.
So do you have stuff
really
you want
cool
to? Do you have stuff you want to share with everyone? Go ahead and read it.
Yeah. These
ahead.
are just notes. It's not like perfected or whatever, but like, yeah, I just I wanted to share it.
Go ahead, share it.
These are my own little jotted down notes. Let me breathe for a second. My heart always gets activated and starts racing when I get selected. Okay. So I just put a title just a second ago, but it says, I am here now. I am the ever-present moment. Let go of all forms of control. I let go of all expectations, create limitations upon my reality. I let go of all instant gratification dopamine releases, because I am here now, and peace is a choice. I am the universe, and the universe is within me. Everything I need is here now. I can create and I create, transmute and transform, translate and emanate, direct and redirect my flow of energy to reality I want for myself. Fly to the eye of the universe as a superluminal transversing being of peace.
Beautiful.
Love is the frequency I choose to emanate as a courageous heart lion, roaring the song of self-empowerment to the king of the concrete jungle, the human creation that we created. We created this reality, and we can use our free will choice, and we can uncreate what we no longer want in this reality, moving to a higher density reality that is in balance with our natural co-creative evolution of our soul's purpose and density here in the now. We create from this point forth an existence free of the old way of being, free of any form of control, free of any competition, free of manipulation and stagnation of our growth and development as free will sovereign human beings who will learn and relearn the infinite and universal language and outgrow the system of limitation, this matrix of energy harvesting and reality manipulation through food, water, air, dopamine releases, instant gratifications, entertainments at all levels, and all other ways that limit our ways to keep us in the micro experience. We are the macro experience. We are God creators, and we will take back our crowns as kings of our reality. And that's it. It was just a little story.
Beautiful. That's spirit rap right there. This is an example of a person who has distilled the teachings for himself. Bravo.
Oh, man. Thank you. Yeah, I was like, what is Andrew gonna think about this? I was like, one of these days I'll call it and just have the balls to like send in my notes, like.
Mm-hmm. Well, today you have the balls. You have succeeded. You get an A+ and a sticker and an apple.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, thank you, Andrew. I appreciate hearing that from you, because yeah.
How hard was it to write that?
Oh, it wasn't hard at all, man. Like sometimes when the inspiration and energy is there, my hand and I usually I have my recorder on me. So I bought a bunch of recorders, because you're like, record your voice and do it. And when those high energy moments happen where I'm like super motivated, I mean, it comes with doing the work and getting that spiritual locomotion, like your spiritual wheels turning, because it doesn't just happen just like you said, doing minimal effort. It's like, oh, you have to like consistently be on top of yourself, keep doing the work, keep recording yourself. And then the days when you're low, you can go back and listen to those high vibrational moments. And it's like, oh, I could pull myself out of this shit. Just listen to my own self-empowered. Like, yeah, that's who I am. That's fucking me.
Here's a little tip for you.
Yeah, tell me.
So I know you were a little excited and you read it with power. Go back in a very private moment and read it painfully slow. So each word has the power, the full power of the potential of now in it. Like painfully slow. So you learn, it's almost like Tai Chi with words. The slower, the more control you have over how the words impact your reality.
I was curious about that, because the more I read them, the more I'm just like, I'll have moments where I just like speed through them really quick. I'm just like, I feel like I'm not.
Don't speed through. It takes away from some of the experience, because after a while you'll realize how your words actually change the reality around you, and how ancestor, when you reach a certain frequencies, ancestors popped into your frequency going, what are you doing? Oh shit.
Interesting. I noticed that, because when I do the work, like there's always things that happen or things that occur. Like that's how I was like, driving south to get some mushrooms, and like I was doing the revocations like on the highway. I don't know if this is probably not recommended, because some lady just like swerved in front of me, got in a huge fucking wreck. I was like, maybe that was me, because I was doing revocations on driving on a fucking highway. But
no, people do revocations on the road all the time. I say that you should be not driving and divining. That's like drunk driving.
Oh, yeah.
But revocations on the road are generally fine, though you shouldn't make it a big habit pattern. It's something that you fill in your blank for your discipline.
Yeah, I kind of got that picture. But yeah, you're right. I definitely noticed that when my nervous system's more calm and I can read it slowly, I can.
When you learn to read with painfully slow process, that control of power, you realize how a single phrase can impact your reality and shatter some illusions in the background. All right, brother. Thank you for calling in.
Oh yeah, that was it.
Great caller. Yeah. You inspired a lot of people. Thanks, Alfredo.
Yeah.
All right, Robert. Let's spin up the wheel of callers and take another caller.
Hey, Raina, you're getting a signal to unmute.
Raina, are you there?
Yes. Hi. Good morning.
Hi. Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from California, La Quinta.
California. Hey, what do you think of today's show?
It's awesome. I've been listening to you for a while. I came up with some revocation one time. That was in 2012, I believe. I was going through my awakening, and I've been going through a lot of stuff, a lot of clearing, and I feel like I've been healing all the time. And I question if we ever done healing, because I feel like I'm obsessed with just healing. And I've been doing mental healing, spiritual, emotional, and now I'm healing my body, like going to chiropractic, getting adjustment and all that. I feel like I've been neglecting my body. And so I wonder, do we really stop healing at some point, or we continue with this journey? And
we learn to operate on different levels of healing. The journey technically never ends, but there are times where we take breaks from the journey, and it's like a vacation. And when we leave the journey and come back to it, we realize we've lost nothing and gained a whole new point of view. This is why I tell so many people, I ask them the question, what do you do for fun that isn't spiritual? And 99% of them don't have an answer, because they have become obsessed with the healing, have become obsessed with the never-ending journey, and don't allow themselves to renew and reinvigorate themselves with things that allow you to be a part of the world. Okay, and unfortunately for a lot of people, that gardening is that rejuvenating. That's still super spiritual. You still got to have something that helps you be a part of the grander world, that is part of the greater experience of a human being that is living here. Okay, tennis can work that. Sports can be that thing. You know, it's also about understanding the camaraderie with human beings and not becoming the hermit practitioner.
Okay. Yeah, lately I have been finding out my patterns and relationships. I feel like I have a karmic debt on relationships. So
We all do. We all have a karmic debt on relationships.
but some
The
people
system,
only
the,
have
sy- the
karmic
system,
lessons.
the system doesn't want you to find true love. Because if everyone found true love, there'd be no. I'll be giving the double middle finger to the system.
I'm
Right?
into a love space, like finding love, loving myself first, because I feel like if I love myself, I won't become in a relationship in a needy place. So, but it's
Which
hard
is
to love myself. It's been so hard.
why is it so hard to love yourself, though?
I don't feel it like when I love
Because you
someone else,
learned how to love others more than yourself. And it's a
right?
learned behavioral pattern that can be unlearned and reprogrammed, which is the spiritual work of self-mastery. Loving yourself as much as you can love others, and then learning to love yourself in such a way you can fulfill your needs in a moment, in any moment's expression.
But I feel like some people have it harder than others. Like, is it true that some people have karmic lessons and some people have karmic debt? Like,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. But at any moment in time, you can let go of the karmic lessons, the karmic debt out of free will and say, I'm no longer allowing it to encumber me. And the use of ritual and ceremony and self-mastery is to separate that this lifetime out of the use of free will, is saying, no matter what was pre-planned in the fetus in the womb, I can change it now.
That's great. Yeah, I
Then
heard
there are
that.
certain people who have used free will over and over and over and over and over again, and it becomes an absolute masterful avoidance skill. Then the system is going to set you up for a variety of false synchronicities and false relationships that will show you the new bottom layer of hitting ground zero, falling to nothingness. And that's where a lot of people get confused. Why is the world beating me up? Usually because you've been avoiding it for so long.
I have been. It took me a big troll on that because in 2015 I had a nervous breakdown. I ended up in the hospital.
Okay, and you could have avoided it by doing the work of self-healing, self-nurturing, self-mastery, and self-love. And all the way to that journey that got you into the breakdown, deep down inside you knew it. Every day that you woke up, I can make a change, I can make a change. And it came, I won't make a change, is ultimately what the answer was. There was a stubborn frequency inside you that wouldn't allow the new perspective to emerge.
Yeah, it makes sense what you're talking about today about going to the adrenal, because right now I'm dealing with my nervous system because I was into the adrenal and the fight to flight mode. And now I'm finally releasing, but then by now I have effects in my body. I've been having even health issues with my adrenal glands.
Absolutely. And when you live the adrenal life for long periods of time, it takes the body, it makes it highly acidic. And once it becomes highly acidic, the degradation of the body can become immense.
Right. And so that's how I started the alkaline diet, just to get the acidic back. But that's on the human level. But I also work in the emotional level, also recognizing my patterns and forgiving myself. Basically, and it's been hard too to forgive myself. But I'm doing it.
Hold on one second. So the journey into getting out of the adrenal gland life for you, you could go back to the last 15 shows that Martina and I have done, and there's all 1,000 tools, tips, and techniques for you there. Martina, you want to add anything to her about getting out of the adrenal life and healing the body?
Yeah, the one thing that pops up for me here is really looking at your boundaries and fortifying your boundaries and acknowledging how much you're actually taking on other people in unawareness. So much so that you could almost call it forced receiving. There's so much receiving that you do that there's just no energy, there's no space left to receive yourself. So I would look at that, look at the boundaries and say, okay, so what is mine and what is somebody else's? And do I really need to keep on taking that on?
I take a lot. I'm more like a diplomatic person. And so I become a pleaser. Yeah. Because I don't like conflict. And so I give away a lot.
And this is a dead end avenue for you. You have to stop doing that, because any healing that you're doing is not even holding, because it gets overwritten by all the forced receiving that you're doing from other people. You got to really step it up now and say, look, this is my life. You know, I don't know yet what loving myself means, but number one is I'm not taking your shit on, and that's it. So fortifying your boundaries, looking at those, I would suggest.
Thank you.
I also advise you to go back and listen to the Orchestra of Consciousness ones we did last year, and it's been replayed a couple times. It's a 3-part show. We talk about agents and agencies and look at some of the revocations we talk about and different ways to look at yourself. And this is for everyone out there that's stuck in the adrenal gland repetition. Go back to those Orchestra of Consciousness ones. Another really good one is the nonsense show, because there's a lot of nonsense you allow in your life that you try to make patterns with nonsense, and you're stuck in nonsensical repetition.
And of course, the empath, throw that one in.
Any of the empath ones, exactly. And then we talk over and over again, why is everyone else's emergencies more important than yours? And learning to put yourself at your emergencies ahead of everyone else's.
But yeah, that's what happened to me. But when I feel like when I don't think about others, I feel like I'm building karma. That's my fear, that I don't want to collect more karma.
You can't live in fear. You can't live in fear of karmas that aren't there yet, though. That's self-defeating.
And it's a lie anyway.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. I mean, just where will you learn that from? Just let that go.
All right. Makes sense.
You can't live for a future guilt. That's what you're doing. Think about it. Something that hasn't even happened yet. You're empathizing guilt for it. That's the pure essence of self-defeating.
Right. I'm anticipating.
Right, but that anticipation is self-fulfilling.
Right. That's right.
And it's going against self-individuation, understanding, your authentic individual you, and that this is actually not a collective awakening, but an individual one.
Right.
All right, darling. Thanks a lot for calling in. You've been a great teacher for a lot of people.
Thank you so much.
All right, Martina, we're at the end of the show. Man, another really powerful show, packed full of information.
Yes, it was great. I enjoyed it.
So you want to give a way for people to get a hold of you?
Yes, Synchrolistic, www.co.uk. I'm on all the social media, Facebook, Instagram, and whatever else is out there. And then don't forget, we've got on a Wednesday, we've got our Earth Nouveau shows, where we also have free Zooms on a Wednesday at 5 o'clock GMT. And yeah, so it would be lovely to see you there.
All right, everybody, you know who I am. You go to my website, andrewbartzis.com. You can find me on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and anywhere else. We encourage you to take time out of your weekly, daily process and learn how to say, I love myself enough to give myself the greater experience. We will be back, not this coming Thursday, next Thursday with a live call-in show, and then followed by a Friday comedy show. And then the week after that, we will be back to our Tuesday. We do every other Tuesday now. and then every other Thursday, Friday, back to back. Thanks a lot, everyone. Powerful show. Get out there and do the self-healing, self-mastery work.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail. Improvise. Mysterious. It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.